Hey, everybody, Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. Going to be boots on the ground for the play-in. Heat, Hawks, very excited for it, as the Heat will look to lock up the 7 seed against Atlanta, who they've had good success with. That is a team that, of course, they gentlemen swept last year in the opening round of the playoffs. Trae Young screaming pineapple as Gabe Vincent put the clamps on him. Mwah. Beautiful thing to see. Jimmy Butler, though, thought he had some interesting things to say today. Jimmy was talking to the media and was asked about this role of the underdog this year. And I thought it was a great answer. I thought it was a great thing of the idea of, now Jimmy is not a guy who really plays in the narrative at all. In fact, he almost likes toying with it. You know, I'll give you what it's like covering Jimmy Butler is like, whatever you say, Jimmy will very politely either disagree or give you what the opposite of that is. Like, Jimmy, your offense was really great tonight. What was effective then? He goes, the offense was great, but really it was the defense that I thought really was the difference. Or Jimmy, you really were shooting it, giving it to Max Strus tonight. He goes, I gave it to Max Strus, but really I could give it to anybody. You know, I could give the ball to, like, that's a lot of like dealing with Jimmy Butler, which is fun. You know, he doesn't just, if you try and even lob him up a softball, he'll take that softball and turn it into like a ghost fork. He'll turn it into another pitch. This is how he rolls. So today he was asked by, I believe it was Ethan Skolnick, who asked him about the idea of them being the underdog going into the playoffs as opposed to being the 1 seed. And I like Jimmy's answer.
Do you embrace the challenge of being an underdog maybe more than being the team that everybody's chasing?
Nope, it's all the same. Didn't nobody pick us to win last year either, so who cares? Y'all not going to pick us to win this year. Still don't give a damn. In 10 years, y'all still not going to pick us. Still don't give a damn. So,
yeah, and beautifully said. You know what? A lot of the times, I do feel like Jimmy's being a bit of a troll with his answers. But to be honest with you, I thought that was spot on. I thought, why would Jimmy Butler care about what anybody thinks about this team, what anybody's opinion of this team is? Because it's not like the Heat are going to get their flowers anyway. If the Heat would have been the 1 seed this year, nobody would have respected them. They would have said, they're the second coming of the Toronto Raptors. They would have picked the Celtics. They would have picked the Bucks. They would have found another reason to talk themselves into the Sixers. So, and I can already get the comments from everybody already. Tobes, come on. You don't really believe in this team. I don't know why I'm making that person sound like Nick Friedel. But I get it. They're not a perfect team. They've certainly been flawed all year. But everybody must admit, it is a strange thing that as Heat fans, we've watched this team in what's been very herky-jerky season, one that has felt very trying, frustrating, because I think one of the things that has happened this year is that there hasn't been a lot new to chew on. And I think one of the things that's been fascinating about the last 15 games is that there has been. There have been roles that have changed. Some guys that have stunk have looked better. Some guys that have looked good have struggled. So there's been a lot more interest, I think, and intrigue in these last 20 games than there were in the first 60. Even though it's all kind of been the same season, outside of, I think there were actually more blowout losses in the last quarter of the last third of the season than there was in the first 2/3 of the season. But I do believe Jimmy when he says, who cares what you guys see us as? You wouldn't pick us anyway. It doesn't matter. And I know he doesn't necessarily mean that towards the local reporters. Look, I'm as they say, fan with good access. I'm a shill. A lot of these local guys do want to see the Heat succeed and do think more highly of them. But I do think this year's been a little bit different. There has been a local eye, a local skew of this just isn't good enough because we all see this as the same as the running back season. Whereas nationally, you got guys, and think of your opinions what they will. Trust me, they're not my favorites. But you have guys like Tim Legler, JJ Redick, Kendrick Perkins, Stan Van Gundy, Bill Simmons is a Celtics fan saying he's scared of the Heat. But all of these people are basically like, I wouldn't want to play these guys. I wouldn't want to play them. I really wouldn't want to be in a playoff scenario with these people. Now, the Heat could go out there. They may get bounced. And everybody's kind of like, that makes sense. Their season really wasn't that great anyway. But because how good Jimmy Butler's been, and certainly there's been a lot of all-NBA buzz. Even Max Strus was on NBA radio today, NBA Sirius radio today, talking about this guy should get MVP votes. I mean, if you're not looking at his season, what are you doing? And he has been that good. He's been that good. He's been that kind of a shark this year. And the other thing that's going to be great about this is if the Heat could take care of business against the Hawks, you got to put if, because you never know with them. But Jimmy Butler's not going to play a lot of games going into this playoffs. He's going to be very, very well rested, which is another huge thing for him. You love the fact that Jimmy's going to go into this thing pretty fresh. And the same thing with Kyle Lowry, who we can get to here in a second. But I thought it was fascinating that Jimmy went the route of like, what does it matter what you guys see us as going into this? You wouldn't pick us to win anyway. It doesn't matter, you rat bastards. Meanwhile, Kyle Lowry had some fascinating things to say about this of his health that he's been dealing with, and was talking about the idea that he was hurt, that he was dealing with a lot of problems with his leg, and now he's healthy.
I was hurt. I was playing on one leg, and I'm still not fully healthy like I want to be. But when you play through an NBA season, and it looks bad when you don't make excuses, and I don't make excuses. So I was playing on a really hurt leg, and I got time to recover and get to a spot where I was very comfortable in playing, and that helps.
Man, and I believe him. A lot of people are like, come on, dude, it was all injury. It's not just look. If you just watch Kyle Lowry, you can see a guy who physically is different from what he was earlier in the year. You can. Now, is it role? I definitely think being in the second unit and limiting those minutes have helped for sure. Now, he does say that he feels like he's adjusted to the role, but he wants more minutes. Now, that's going to be an interesting thing.
I'm playing a position that, I'm trying to help my team, and I'm saying it in the sense of I'm doing whatever it helps my team to win. That's all that really matters in that situation. That's what that is. I don't really feel like anything but trying to help the team win, honestly. At this point of this season, it doesn't matter what I am, and we are what we are, and I think we have a good rhythm with that right now. I think it's been good for our team, and for us, we just got to win games. And what it is I'm coming off the bench to help our team win games.
Are you in a place now if they need or want to ramp up your minutes?
Yeah.
That you feel comfortable
yes.
about that?
Very, very, very comfortable.
Couple of interesting things there. Like it is one of these things where he still doesn't seem like he's in love with the backup role. Doesn't seem like he's in love with it. When you say, I'm doing things to help our team win, that's not exactly saying I'm all for it. I love doing this. No, but he also makes it clear I am ready to ramp things up. I'm ready to give more. I'm interested. I'm interested to know what Spo is going to do. We saw this in the finals run where there was a very big pivot from benching Kendrick Nunn, starting Goran, and going that direction. Is there going to be another pivot from Gabe Vincent starting or going to Kyle and Kyle starting? I don't know. I think early on, my guess is they're going to stick with this, that they're going to stick with this lineup of the three shooters around Bam and Jimmy. So Gabe, Tyler Strus, Bam and Jimmy, with this starting unit, with the second unit now, buoyed by Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry, who both seem way more effective in the handful of games we've gotten to see them there, plus Caleb Martin. And I think that is going to be the direction they go. If some foul trouble happens, Cody Zeller, crack in case of emergency. Seems as if one of your shooters gets into super foul trouble, then Duncan Robinson, crack in case of emergency. But I think that's going to be pretty much the way that they go into this postseason. And Kevin Love talked about what his theory was for this unit looking so good together.
Yeah, and I think with, you put Tyler in there as well, Jimmy in there, almost like a 4 out, 1 in, or I can, post up smaller guys if they're switching. We just kind of have a free-flowing, free offense. And then on the defensive end, we either, go into our 5 man-on-man where 1 through 4 we're switching, and then on me, I'm, strong showing or blitzing, and then we've been super effective in our zone as well. So I think if we're able to get stops and get out with that unit, and with me playing a small ball 5, again, that's another thing, another dynamic that is a luxury for us that we're able to play that way. But we all enjoy playing together. We all move the ball. We all play off one another. So we're going to try to keep that good thing going.
It has been looking good. And Caleb is right with that. Now the big thing is, look, you go out against this Hawks team, you take care of business, and set this thing up with the Celtics. Because I do think, look, obviously the Celtics are going to be favored in a series like that. And I don't even really want to talk about playoffs till they play in. I really don't. But I definitely would, if you had to look at anyone as a warm up or one team that you felt more comfortable starting things off in, well, it might as well be one that you had a 7-game series with last year, as opposed to a team that has definitely played, I think, probably the best out of anybody this year, on top of the fact that, you do get to feel these things out a little bit more, because I feel like the matchups are going to be a lot more sophisticated, or they're going to be a little bit more unorthodox against Milwaukee than they would be against Boston. I think Boston, you can go into this and, let the chips fall where they may, but I think that this rotation is probably going to be the rotation. If it gets to the 8th seed, yeah, things can get tricky. You're going to play multiple bigs, or you're going to go back to Kevin Love because they're so much bigger than you. I think that it's just a simpler series to start off with that against Boston. Will it be an easier one? I don't know. That remains to be seen, but I do think that as far as a matchup perspective, I do think that you don't have to change anything, or there's not going to be these desperate changes because of a physicality standpoint. Whereas I could see that against Milwaukee, that being a thing, because the Heat aren't nearly as big as them. But first things first, you got to get Trae Young to say safe word and get him the hell out. You got to play yourself into the playoffs.